here from Woody's Scrapbox, Raising Home Vibrations. Today I'm again dressed like the Emperor in the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, and yeah, I've still got the phallic symbol and the symbol of the world at our feet and prosperity. I'll begin to delve into the warning signs or the red flags that I experienced, and it might tend to help somebody out. So I'll put these down and I'll grab my idiot cards to try and keep it simple, because I tend to waffle on somewhat, as you probably already noticed. So yeah, one of the things I noticed was, in hindsight, I noticed that she would provoke me into try to provoke me into jealousy type situations, and it'd be comments like, "Oh, he thinks I'm too good for you." Yeah, well, I tended to ignore those, but when they became cliches, I eventually came up with, well, he's just trying to get into your pants type answer. We'd be driving around, and many of the comments became cliches. There'd be ones like, "Oh, look at his cute ass," and "Oh, I love his big bulge," and he can park his shoes under my bed anytime. Was a few, and this was with other people in the car as well. It wasn't just the two of us, and I began to realise that this wasn't just playful, loving teasing, but I didn't do anything really to stop it or to try and draw a line in the sand. I let it continue on. After the period of time when we were being intimate, she was very stuck in, she was like a stick in the mud. She just would only try certain things. Anyway, all of a sudden, after quite some time, she decided that it would be a good idea to try different sexual positions in lovemaking. And yeah, that was a red flag I should have picked up on. The girls would often organise something in the way of a girls only time, and that was fine. It's really good for friends and siblings to hang out, and without any spouses or boyfriends or whatever, and I think it helps to promote a healthy relationship. Anyway, with a carload like I usually had, I drove them up to this beach and dropped them at the flat and helped them unload, and my mate and I went on to the beach where we normally surfed, and the following day we came back to the beach. Quite often we used to sleep in the car, but with all the people that had been in the car, there was no room for our normal gear other than the boards on the rack on the roof. So we came back the following day, and driving past the beach on our way to our normal beach, we noticed one of the younger siblings, one of the younger sisters' boyfriend crossing the road, and that was perplexing to me at the time, because he didn't have a driver's license, and that's my little Emperor chasing a butcher bird that's wanted to get some of his food. Sorry about that. Anyway, I decided to investigate, and my mate and I went back to the unit, and there were quite a few guys' clothes lying around in the unit, and I made a comment about it, fairly just passing comment, and I was told that they all belonged to the sister's boyfriend, who just happened to call up there. I knew this was not true because he was quite slight in build, and the clothes that were there were from a stocky person. So that was another warning sign. I didn't challenge it anyway. Being from a lower socio-economic background, I often took a family away, some of the family. There was too many to fit in my car. I generally only get about 8 in my car, and it was a 6-seater, and the next car was a 5-seater, so it was even trickier with it. But I'd take a family away, and then out of the blue it was just edged in bit by bit, "Oh, my family are your friends," and it became that way that later on I wasn't allowed any other friends. It had to be her family. So that was another big red flag for me. Anyway, another incident was her sister started hitting on me, her elder sister, one of the elder sisters. And this was a bit disconcerting to me, especially the fact that she would do it in front of their parents. Yeah, that's a little bit strange. I still find it extremely strange. But anyway, she lost her job. Her trade just collapsed, and having lost her job, it then became difficult for her to seek out work, because she had worked in the city and it was easy enough to walk to a bus and catch a bus to the city. But most of the jobs that were available in the day were out in the suburbs, and she had no means to get to these jobs. And she hit on me for my car, and I really wasn't happy with that. I was a bit of a car enthusiast, and nobody drove my car except my best mate. So anyway, I bought her a roadworthy vehicle, and then she started complaining about the heap of junk. So I'd ask her what was wrong with it, and she'd tell me, and I'd drive it and there'd be nothing wrong with it. So a very good friend of my dad's was head mechanic for one of the airlines, and I was always welcome over at his place, and I took the car over to his place, and he told me there was nothing wrong with it. It was a great little car. So yeah, there was another big red flag that it is what it is. But her father would occasionally come out with a comment like, "When are you going to take her off our hands?" And I was easy enough able to answer him with comments like, "Oh, when we're ready." But then I thought, well, this is a little bit bizarre. So I approached the matter very delicately with her, and she always come, whenever I had a question like that about what her parents had said, she'd come back with a really good answer, and sometimes I knew it was just BS, and other times I suspected that it wasn't the full truth or any truth coming from her mouth. But she was so quick with the response, almost like she was waiting for me to ask it. So yeah, then my friends and I, even as kids travelling around in their parents' cars, at night time we try and pick headlights coming in the opposite direction, and try and pick exhaust sounds. And I wasn't too good on the headlights at night, but the exhaust sounds I could always pick, whether it was a Ford or a General Motors, or like one of the European makes. I could generally pick them all. especially the common ones and even the less so common ones. And I'd get home from table tennis fixtures around midnight, and I'd go to bed and I'd be thinking about what I had to do the next day, up in my head about this, that and the other, and I'd hear a car cruise pass around 1 or 2 a.m. I think, that sounds like her car, and I'd jump out of bed and run to the kitchen, only to see her cruising around the corner and up the hill. And when I asked her about that, she said it wasn't her, but I knew it was her. I saw her. Anyway, eventually all these things culminated to like a tower moment for me. So I decided to try and get a job in the mines to get her away from her family and all that. And I kept pestering a friend of mine who was a mine manager, and he offered me a really well-paying job but it was a once-only offer, he said to me, and I think he created the job just for me, actually. But anyway, I was getting pretty good money where I was as a junior. I was often relieving in graded positions, so for 20 weeks of the year I had really good pay, especially for a junior. And so anyway, I mentioned this job to her, and this job at the mines, and she started mumbling on about the distance from her parents and all that, and then she came up, I'll only go if we get married. And I said, all the accommodation's arranged, no one will know that we're not married. And she said no, she wouldn't go. So intuition that I was being manipulated, and all the suggestions of sexual misconduct and infidelity and the lies and the cheating, I was thinking, I'm not sure. There was another time we were out and about somewhere, and I always used to pay for everything, but anyway, this time we were out shopping and she wanted to buy some female hygiene products. Oh, fair enough, I'll just stay back from that. It's okay for me to go into a ladies' lingerie place and buy her underwear, and to go to a surf shop and buy her crochet bikinis or whatever, and the girls would always say, oh wow, I wish my boyfriend would do that. Anyway, that never seemed to be appreciated much. So yeah, she opens a purse to pay for these ladies' hygiene products, and her purse was full of these verdigris coins. And coins generally don't get verdigris on them unless they're being stored somewhere that's salty or whatever. And of course I had a wet pack. Shame on me, it was elephant white, but back in the day no one really knew any better. And I always kept a heap of coins in there for phoning my parents to see that everything was okay there, or phoning friends who were due up on the Sunday and things like that. And with the salt air and the soap from the showers and toilet blocks, most of the coins ended up with quite a lot of verdigris on them. And anyway, with her suddenly having these verdigris coins, the purse was full of them, I just casually mentioned, oh, did you need to borrow some of my coins out of my wet pack? Well, the barrage of abuse, just unbelievable. So I, in public, in the shop, and I just said, oh, okay, maybe I misunderstood or something, because she claimed she got them in change. Or I'd never seen it, and when I asked at work and all the people at work and around, nobody had ever received a coin with verdigris on it. and I only used to ever use them in a machine and a phone to ring STD. So that was another red flag. Yes, we'd be going places, and this was another warning sign. I'd say, "Well, where do you want to go?" Because there wasn't much entertainment around in those days, except in the city with the expensive picture theatres, and that was a bit out of our price range to be doing almost every night when we weren't playing sport. So I'd say, "Where do you want to go?" And they'd say, "Oh, you just choose a place." And her and her sister would be the same. And mate might suggest, "Oh, we'll go to Savages Crossing, or we'll go to Binnaburra, or Springbrook, or wherever." So off we'd go. And if everything didn't work out exactly the way that went to her plan, she'd start abusing me about things that were out of my control. And I'd say, "Well, tomorrow night you choose where we're going," you know. So that was another item. It was a red flag and a warning sign, and the whole lot. Any one red flag on its own isn't really an issue, you know. But when you have so many, you really need to start drawing a line in the sand and get on your bike and get out of there. And that's what I did. I ended up, I broke it off with her, and I'll go on in another episode why you should never ever take anyone like that back, because those sorts of leopards don't change their spots. And we'll delve into the knife wielding and attacks in a later episode of the channel. So thank you for watching our channel, and I hope this keeps you well, and we'll see you next time.